administration has disbanded the Department of Government Efficiency with 8 months still remaining in its mandate. The agency was established as a flagship initiative to slash federal agencies and reduce government size, but it reportedly delivered few measurable savings. Now, the Office of Personnel Management, a U.S. federal government agency, has confirmed that Doge is no longer a centralized entity and that it has now taken over many of Doge's functions. Meanwhile, several prominent Doge employees have moved to the National Design Studio, which was created by Trump to improve its government websites. Doge had earlier claimed to have cut billions of dollars in expenditure, but outside experts could not really verify the figures due to limited public accounting. However, the Trump administration and its officials have still not formally announced Doge's end, although its functions and hiring freeze have remained phased out over the past couple of months. Moreover, as per reports, Republican-led states including Idaho and Florida are also creating local entities modeled after Doge to manage their bureaucracy and budget cuts as well. We all know that Doge was established right after Donald Trump had taken oath as president for the second time earlier this year. It was established through an executive order signed the moment he resumed the presidency. Its leaders formerly were Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. But of course, over the months, there have been reports of Doge losing its operational independence. In fact, Musk was earlier given such a free hand that US aid was shut down as well. But of course, the tiff seems to have been between Trump and Musk seemed to have been a turning point. With us on the broadcast is Mr. Spencer Critchley, communications strategist, joining us from California. Thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to us on NewsX World. Doge was, of course, positioned in the run-up to Trump taking office as one of the most disruptive undertakings of his second term in office, but now it's been disbanded with 8 months still left in its official mandate. How do you read into this, and what does this really say about the Trump administration's style of operations?
Well, I think Doge was a tragic failure that instead of saving costs, imposed enormous costs, including in terms of the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. And this is something that is just too often swept under the rug as people move on to the next story. But if you stop and think about the impact of just shutting down the U.S. Agency for International Development, reliable estimates put the cost in lives in the hundreds of thousands. One closely tracked monitor at Boston University estimates 600,000 deaths already. An internal memo by a Doge whistleblower a few months ago estimated, I think it was 200,000 cases of paralytic polio among children just in the coming year or so. This apparently is no burden whatsoever on Elon Musk's or Donald Trump's consciences. Those consciences seem to be missing. Even the very name Doge is an adolescent joke based on the Doge crypto coin.
Absolutely.
And Musk's understanding of politics and policy seems to be that of a teenage boy who gets most of his picture of the world from science fiction novels. One tech expert who knows it well describes him as the world's most powerful 15-year-old, and I think that kind of overestimates his emotional age. I can't say enough negative about the whole enterprise of Doge. Of course, they failed to achieve any meaningful cost savings in the federal government. They didn't bother to learn how the federal government works before launching on this chainsaw-style cost-cutting they were so proud about. And then they lied about the results, ultimately, apparently, achieving trivial results financially, but as I say, murderous results in terms of the human costs, and that's just with USAID. There have been other more or less severe impacts in the United States and around the world as a result of it.
Indeed. I request you to stay on with us. I'd also like to point out some statistics because publicly, Doge had claimed large-scale fiscal achievements at its peak. In fact, Musk had set a record of trimming $1 trillion from the federal deficit by the end of September 2025, which of course has not been achieved. The target is far from fulfilled. Doge's website listed about $214 billion in savings, although reports have indicated that these numbers had been inconsistently represented or even overstated. Now, across agencies, as Mr. Critchley have pointed out, the consequences of Doge's interventions were varied. It did not just impact the beneficiaries of US aid, but also the government employees. The workload had grown exponentially, capacities had shrunk, and in many cases, programs had halted entirely. I wanted to understand from you, we did quite see the public spat between Donald Trump and Elon Musk over Truth Social and the comments that were made on X as well with regards to the disagreement over the one big beautiful bill. Was that then the turning point in the operation of the Department of Government Efficiency?
That appeared to be a big part of it. Musk was extremely upset by what he saw as ironically, the fiscal profligacy of the so-called big beautiful bill, which was just an enormous tax cut and giveaway to the richest people in America, while saddling the United States with more debt than had ever been created by any president ever in history. In fact, Trump by himself has created more debt than all of the previous American presidential administrations combined. And the benefits have overwhelmingly flowed to the people who need it the least.
Indeed, and he's walked back on his promises that were made in the run-up to him securing the second term. So I request you to stay on with us as